Hi, everybody. Welcome to the new normal. I'm your host, Lisa Davis, aka Litecoin Lisa, and today I've got a treat for you. It's Wednesday, and I've got my mom, my precious mom, Crypto Nana for LTC, here with us, and one of the fam, Johnny Litecoin, joining us. We're going to talk about some hot topics. There's some crazy stuff, some smoke rolling in from the East Coast. They say it's from Canada. We'll let you guys let us know what you think's going on. There are definitely some fires going on in Canada, so we're sending lots of prayers to everyone there. Hope everybody is safe. And there's a lot of smoke and fire everywhere else in the country. So be right back right after this. Give us a like, share the video, and join us in the live chat. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the show. Johnny, thanks for joining us on a Wednesday. I know that's unusual, but glad to have you.
Happy to be here with my favorite person, Nana, of course. And with everything going on today, my God, today's a day I need to live on the ground. I'm from the belly of the beast in the New York, New Jersey area.
I thought we would bring you in and then bring in, the OG, the lady that started it all for me, so that we'd have a voice of reason in all this craziness. I'm sure a lot of people have heard about the smoke, seen some of the pictures. I wanted to share, Johnny, let me jump over to your Twitter real quick and show kind of what you were seeing even in New Jersey.
Yep.
And we were seeing pictures. If you go on Twitter or pretty much anywhere, I think you'll see all kinds of stuff.
It was hard to you definitely smell smoke if you go outside. It was hard to breathe. I mean, I breathe fine. I don't have any breathing, no asthma, but it wasn't you would get kind of lightheaded and a little headache if you'd be outside for too long.
Yeah. And I did have a friend share a really cool website that showed like the whole country, and it showed, I think it was used for like California fires or something, but it showed the smoke pattern and a predictive smoke pattern, and then the current fires. I was going to share that with us too, but it looked like more than half the country should be covered in smoke by like Friday morning. And of course, we're seeing this news of Trump indictment expected by next week now. But this stuff is all kind of happening. They're saying it's caused by the fires in Canada, but then you're not like the blackouts that they're seeing in New York, in the New York and New Jersey area. Let me see if I can find that video of are pretty significant. These pictures that they're showing all over the
there's some crazy one. I saw one. If you go to that account, Twitter account, Insider Paper, they show the view of what it looks like on the George Washington Bridge. That was,
yeah, this was the Empire State Building at 2:15 today. And you notice that it has this orange haze to it. Everybody's making the comments that it's orange, 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 which I guess that's because of the smoke particles in it. But it makes me wonder, you know how a lot of MAGA people have like the orange in their name? You notice that Mel Gibson is trending. There's been an announcement that he has a movie coming out pretty soon about the Ukraine and what's going on there, their biggest business that involves small people. So that's going to be that's going to be, I think, some of the biggest news. Here we go. Mel Gibson is allegedly making a 4-part docuseries on the 34 billion global, you know what, involving countries like Ukraine. I think that may be part of it. Mom and I, we talked about, it's very interesting that we're seeing all this money was released recently. And, but Coinbase and Binance have been frozen. And when you think about this flood just happened in Ukraine, well, what happens when a flood happens, or when you flush water through something, like all the junk pops up, all the trash pops up. And if all this money was flooded out, kind of my thought was that's going to pop up. If that was to freeze the good, the ones with KYC, that the good exchanges, then only the dark web is left open, and then they can catch the rats as they pop out that way. I don't know if that's the right way to think about that.
I mean, I guess DeFi is still open. The decentralized exchanges, I guess, but yeah, it could be a way to, this is all through this choke point stuff that, I've been talking about forever.
So this Mel Gibson movie will be out July 4th. That I think is pretty huge. We know that there's just some big dates coming up. There's Father's Day coming up. There is Trump's birthday, which is Flag Day, which is also the Army's birthday, which is a week from today on the 14th. I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't. Maybe that's the day they'll indict him. There was also huge news. This news just came out. The dirty cop that was installed as governor of Nevada is looking at over $1 million in fines for abusing his position as sheriff while running for governor. This is the guy who covered up the Las Vegas shooting. So this Las Vegas shooting is a huge piece. And it ties together with Trump and him protecting the Saudi prince. And you kind of have to look into that on your own. I probably can't talk about that too much just yet. But I think that's part of why all of this is happening right now, and maybe will be part of the movie that will be exposed later. I don't know. Johnny, do you know about the Las Vegas shooting?
Well, the one from a couple years back, the one, the massacre. I don't know too many details of it, other than it was obviously seemed like it was designed to take guns away from the people, and seemed like the guy was working with the bad guys, obviously, because there's he just disappeared. Nothing was known about the guy. They didn't catch anybody doing anything. So when they don't catch somebody, or there's no info on them, you have to wonder, like,
right. You have to wonder this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Let me get this straight. He gets up 400 pounds of equipment up 30 floors, sets up a concealed sniper nest, disarms fire alarms, other security systems in a place at a casino, removes a window that's 800 pounds of hurricane-proof glass, then for 10 minutes rained in aimed firepower, all with no training whatsoever and no motive. That's what you have to wonder about.
You have to, I don't know if you've heard of William Cooper, Bill Cooper, like the Behold, like the Pale Horse. Nana, you probably know who I'm talking about, right?
I'm not sure.
William Cooper, he was kind of like big into a lot of this stuff back in like the 80s and 90s. He actually died in a shootout with police in his Arizona home in like the early 2000s. But he predicted a lot of this stuff, and he said that it was going to turn to where they were going to do a lot of these shootings, and they were going to be people that were either contracted by a 3-letter agency or they were kind of under mind control. But they can mind control a lot of people too. And
all youngsters are especially MK.
Yeah, get people that are vulnerable, get them to do stuff. So I don't know if this guy was a victim of that, or he actually was an operative for them. I don't know what this guy's deal was. Obviously, though, this was fishy, and there was something more to this, because they can, again, they can find out anything. And it's like when they don't find information on people, you have to wonder, what are they hiding? I think the stuff we're seeing now with the smoke is to cover up for the, I think a lot of it's to cover up for the Jamie Foxx situation. They want to get the public's mind off that. I actually was, I was at the gym over the weekend, and I heard some people talking, and they were talking about the jab. And these were normal people, and they were like, they were saying, oh, they had problems after it. One lady was like, she was fooled by it. And I actually looked at that lady. I said, very smart. I said, keep thinking that way, very good. But I think a lot of what we're seeing is to cover up for that, because they could blame health problems on the smoke inhalation. If right now, people are going to be hyper aware because of the Jamie Foxx situation, many problems, and they're going to talk about them. And then it's going to be all eyes on the medical industrial complex and big pharma. And so people are hyper aware right now. So now if they create an event to point to, people say, oh, I'm having breathing problems, or I had this, or heart palpitations. And then normally when they say, oh, is it from the jab? No, it's from the smoke. You inhaled the smoke. We told you to go outside with a mask. You must not have done it. You must have been predisposed to the smoke. So I think the smoke, me personally, I think it's to cover up for that. And I think they were afraid because the public was becoming too aware of that situation, and they needed to. This puts new light into the term "create smoke and mirrors" with all this.
Wow,
yeah. So it's. I think they're definitely trying to cover up for that. The financial stuff, they want to get people's minds off of that. What's going on right now with the financial system, but I feel like the financial system, they have more ways to manipulate us. So like the jab situation, it's one thing with that football player. That the one that his heart stopped in the field, and people felt like, some people think he died, some people say
Right.
So that was a bad situation for him, but it's football, it's rough, he was hit. So they can be like, well, he was hit in the chest at the perfect position. Jamie Foxx was an actor. So now the fact that it's hitting it's not hitting the MSM, the mainstream media, but there's enough hits on the tweets and stuff, and enough views and impressions that it is going out to the masses. So now you're going to have people that are, Uncle Cliff was talking about that, how the normies start to revolt because of the jab, because they were duped into taking it. So I feel like they really need to create a diversion from that. And so I feel like that's why we're seeing a lot of this smoke. And obviously I think this was done intentionally, and they started, there's always fires, but I think these were started, they're too widespread. I think these were, and we've never ever had this ever in the New York area, ever, ever, ever. I mean, never in my lifetime have we had anything close to this. So why now? You have to question the timing of everything. Some people got mad when I did that video earlier. They said, well, not everything's a conspiracy.
I know.
Well, when the timing, when it fits just perfect, and I've been saying they're going to do an event. They're going to do an event. I was saying a fake alien invasion might be something they would do, but they have so many tricks up their sleeve. This is even better. This now they can point again. They could point to the health problems people develop. Oh, that's not from the jab. It's from the smoke that you inhaled. It's from the smoke that everyone inhaled. They might create another health solution for the smoke. We don't know. They might say, oh, there's a new shot to take that's going to help you with the smoke that you inhaled. We don't know what these lunatics are capable of.
Well, I was concerned because I saw something about Australia talking about doing an aerosol jab over the whole country. And then I saw this article talking about fires or smoke in Quebec, or where is it? I don't know. In Australia, is anything like Australia? Blah, blah, blah. These fires were not managed properly. Okay, so it wasn't recent fires in Australia. They were just talking about when there are fires in Australia. So separate issue. Never mind. But there was an article talking about because Australia's had one of the highest death rates from all that, but they were also one of the most jabbed, and they are now talking about doing an aerosol across the country, and they're like in that book from Melvin Stamper, they were talking about how here in America, they did that through the mosquitoes, releasing infected mosquitoes over the nation through science experiments. And then we've recently had those balloons that have gone over the U.S. That could have been filled with things. And now we're seeing this smoke that we're being told is, but like you guys are watching the fires. Somebody said something, and this is all, just for entertainment.
Who knows what's in this smoke? You're right. I wasn't even thinking about that, Lisa. You're right. They could have stuff in this smoke to intentionally get us sick. We don't know. I mean, I'm telling you, when I went out, if I was outside for a few minutes, I would start to get a headache. I would get kind of a little lightheaded. I've been around campfires and smoke and stuff before. I never had that reaction to.
And Mom, wasn't there Cliff High data about not smoke or fire, but something about like they'd be telling us to stay away from the windows or staying inside, and something about staying away from the windows?
I don't recall.
You don't remember that?
But I'll tell you, when you were talking about the mainstream media not covering this, I saw some stats on just that, Twitter's becoming kind of the big platform. Tucker Carlson's got more views on Twitter than he ever got on Fox. So
65 million or something within the first 24 hours.
Great point, Nana. Great point. So the Twitter gets more data and info out there than the MSM does. The MSM, it's really just the sheep right now watching it. So it's Twitter is people that are more awake and aware. And actually, Lisa, I was telling you before the show started, I talked to two really nice kids at my gym today, and I figured it was a perfect day to bring up stuff because of the smoke in the air. And they actually agreed with me, and they said, yeah, this seems really strange. What's going on? And I started talking about different things. And then the one girl goes to me. She goes, "Oh, I feel kind of weird bringing this up, but do you know about the Michelle Obama theory?" And I said, "Oh, Michael, yeah, Michael Obama. I know all about Michael." And she goes, "Oh, good. I was hoping I wasn't the only one." And I said, "Go to BitChute and search for Michelle on the Ellen show, and you'll see something flopping around." And she goes, "Oh, I go to Twitter for everything," she told me, because she goes,
Oh, good.
Twitter, she goes, they can't censor it because people just keep putting more and more and more out there. And she's right. They can try to censor it to a point, but then new videos just keep popping up. So you're right, Nana.
Not bad for it all. Yeah.
Twitter's becoming the big platform where they can't censor at all, because new accounts pop up. You can have 50 followers, and if you hashtag something popular and people search for that, they're going to find your video and they're going to see it.
Yeah, things are changing, but I think we're reaching a tipping point.
I think we are. The Pope is going to have surgery for his hernia. I'm sure everyone will be praying for him.
I'm sure we want to.
This was interesting too. So that governor in Arizona is being called out for his involvement in that thing in Vegas, the shooting. Then this guy, this is the 9/11 thing, where the families. Okay, I'll just let you guys listen to this.
Jay, the 9/11 Families United made a strong statement yesterday. They said you co-opted the 9/11 community in taking a moral stance against Liv. How would you respond to that group?
Well, I read Terry's comments. I obviously acknowledge her loss and completely understand her position. And to the question that you were just asking, I think about the fact that I allowed confidentiality to prevail here. And in allowing confidentiality to prevail, I did not communicate to very important constituents, including the families of 9/11. And I regret that. I really do. But as we sit here today, I think it's important to reiterate that I feel like the move that we've made and how we move forward is in the best interests of our sport. We've eliminated those fractures. But for any difficulties I've caused on that front, again, I have to own that as well. And that comes back to communication.
That's another calm that I've been seeing is these fractured, broken windows, and they keep showing like this product for eliminating the fractures or whatever. So he may have had to pay the piper, considering he said that. I wonder what that means. So there's this Live and then the PGA, right? Do you know about this, Johnny? I'm not much into golf.
I mean, the PGA is the main league or like association, and then I think Live is like they popped up like a couple years ago, and it gained a lot of popularity, and a lot of the people on the PGA didn't like it, and it was kind of giving them competition. And I guess now they kind of merged or something, I heard, or something of that nature.
Okay, merge commercial operations under common ownership. Okay, so there's some kind of merge happening now, but he's basically not taking like full ownership for what he did while he was in PGA. It sounds like
Trump talked about Live like months ago, and then
yeah, I saw him standing with some Saudi guy with a MAGA hat on yesterday at some event, and they both were like Live guys or had Live shirts on.
Because Trump's he has all those golf courses, and he's actually also he actually is an excellent golfer. He's probably the best golfer out of any president that we've
He's very
had.
athletic. Yeah.
As far as like in golf, they call it a handicap. As far as like his handicap goes, like I heard he always played to like maybe like a 5 handicap or something, like legit. I think, you know, some people said he was a scratch golfer, but I heard he was probably around like and that's a 5 handicap is an excellent golfer. That means you're shooting in the 70s every time you play. Most people will never ever be close to that good. And I've even watched him even now hit a golf ball. He could drive the hell out of a ball. He gets a good swing on it. It's not so yeah, he's Live use Trump courses. Okay, Daddy, I'll
So
put that.
the other thing with this smoke that I wanted to bring up, this breaking news came out that this was exposed. This Instagram algorithm exposes promoting pedo networks in this massive investigation. So this kind of triggered all this, where video sales of preteens and in-person meetups with boys and girls using emojis with a map and all this with cheese pizza, all this kind of stuff. This kind of triggered this. Then there's the smoke that closes down airports. There was a promoted tweet that said, the puppies get frustrated when we close the cabinet to keep the trash from getting out. And I remember Trump talking about in a speech, he said, when I went to DC, I just saw trash everywhere. And finally, I just started cleaning it up myself. And I'm thinking that maybe this smoke, although it might keep a lot of people in and irritate all of us, it might be to keep the bad guys from flying away too. Because wasn't there was just some crashes recently too, some plane crashes, which makes me wonder if people were trying to escape.
Supposedly that was, depressurization, but they all happen to be big billionaire Trump supporters. So who knows?
Who knows?
Was that the plane that crashed in the DC area?
Yeah, there was one that
they scrambled those jets, and they may have shot it down, and of course they're going to say depressurized or something. They're not going to tell people that we'll shoot you down if we don't like where you're flying,
Right.
Bingo.
Right. Very interesting. Yeah, just a lot for everybody to stop and kind of critically think. And I remember, I keep going back to Uncle Cliff saying, like, right now is the time where we need to like really hold things lightly when we get this information, because a lot of it is misinformation most likely, and we need to kind of cross-reference and critically think about what's going on, and know that they've been lying to us for a long time. So I think there's going to be a lot of.
If there was ever a time to be an observer, I think it's now, because A plus B is not always adding up.
No, you're 100% right, Nana. It's lots of stuff is not adding up right now, and there's a lot they want to distract us from. A lot of stuff they want to distract us from. So all the Ukraine stuff, the financial system stuff, pedo stuff, the vax stuff. There's a lot of moving parts right now. And I always say that they always have multiple key sets of agenda. They don't just do something to do one thing to us. Right. They have multiple key sets of agenda that they want to try to accomplish. Yeah. We have the WHO right now is trying to roll out the vaccine passports.
Mm-hmm.
They've been talking about how the European system works so good, and they want to, So keep your eye out. I think in order to roll that out, they would need to create another health scare for everybody to try to get people nervous again and to get the public at a heightened sense of alert to want that. I feel like if they tried to roll that out now, there'd be a lot of public backlash.
Well, it's interesting that they're talking about doing these 15-minute cities and, no car ownership, but some electric cars, mostly mass transportation. And you are only allowed to fly once every 3 years, It's bizarre. And yet they want new passports.
Yeah. And what about the IDs? So I just had to renew my license and it was free. And that's probably because they want to roll out that real ID thing they called it. I heard it's by next year you're supposed to have the real ID or whatever.
It off, but yeah.
And what's that? What strings or what's going to be attached with that real ID? We don't know.
Yeah. And actually, it's going to be more difficult to get than a passport because I looked into it at one time and I don't even know why because they had an earlier deadline. I thought I was going to have to do it. And, some of the things they required were just going to be really difficult for me to get. And I don't remember if it was like, old divorce settlement or what, but it was not, it was in a huge county. So it was going to be difficult to access. But anyway, that's probably not a big deal anymore. Now everything's so digital. Pay your dollar and order it. But it was actually easier for me to get a passport. There were fewer requirements for me to have a passport than this other thing.
Yeah.
The real deal.
I mean, to get a passport's pretty, seems like that'd be an easy system that they can give the bad guys passports pretty easily.
Mm-hmm.
When I went to get one, we had to go to a library to do it. And then one lady had to take all the stuff and mail it. To me, I saw so many gaps in that system of I'm like, I could see how they can give whoever they want, whatever kind of passport they want. I see. So it's which could be good and bad. You want them to tighten systems up in a way so the bad guys can't take advantage of it. But then when they tighten stuff up too much, they weaponize it against the people. Mm-hmm. So it's almost like which one's better or worse? You know what I mean? Are they better off weaponizing it against us? Or are we better off having a lax system that anyone can take advantage of? I don't know. What's the
which worse?
Yeah, what's worse? Somebody said, Mark Weems, I just got a new license yesterday. It was a real ID, need a birth certificate or passport, W-2 statement, 2 forms of proof of address bills. Crazy. What if you don't work and have a W-2 job? How do you get the real?
Yeah, that's concerning.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
And where do we go? Is where I am asking, we're in this 1984 world. And one of my buddies is part owner of Gab. And I know, we think that Twitter is this freedom speech thing, but I'm still having trouble. I tried to respond to one of Portney's posts about the smoke and whatever. And I just questioned, I said, then where are all the smoke pictures in Canada? Because
you've been on that, Lisa.
Yeah. And I couldn't even respond to it. I couldn't reply to it. I couldn't question, put some critical thinking on there, nothing. And so not all of it is what it seems, and sometimes they have algorithms where they let you think that you're posting stuff because it feels good to you.
Right.
And that was that was part of the biggest part of the psyop of social media, was that we felt good. And so we'd post and whatever, and we're sitting in our little fishbowl thinking we're making all this noise. Meanwhile, they're running off doing whatever they want with, our value and our money and our everything else.
My theory on the Portnoy guy and the Barstool Sports. Well, first of all, they got some heat because they were promoting the Pride agenda, and how they become popular out of the blue. I always question when something or somebody or someone or a corporation out of the blue becomes super popular. I feel like there's an invisible hand, or somebody's pushing them along to make them popular. And I feel like he was big during the bull run in cryptos and in misleading people as well, kind of giving out bad info. Again, I don't know if it's a stretch, but he does that pizza thing, all stuff with the buzzword of pizza. I don't, my brain goes to all these different places. He does the pizza review. So I just don't know with that guy. I definitely don't think that he's, he's for we the people. I definitely could see him. He might front like he is, but is he is he like who's controlling him and who's pushing him along? It's, again, whenever something becomes popular, especially when it becomes popular in like the mainstream, it's one thing to be popular on Twitter or popular, kind of like underground popular. When you get like mainstream popularity, somebody wants you to become popular like that. The agenda is being pushed by dark forces. So I really question that guy and that whole entity.
I know how hard I've tried to get the word out there for, of course I'm trying to fight for freedom and help people, with the information that mom's helped me lead me on this path of, knowledge, and trying to help people be, independent and not manipulated and all that. And so of course I've got forces fighting against what my channel is. And mom's been fighting it for longer than that, but I just think about even my daughter doing something doesn't really have a fight for freedom. She's just doing jujitsu and, having her little channel out there and stuff. She didn't get pushed to something like that. I mean, yeah. I mean, he was really propelled.
Yeah.
Now you could hire a lot of people buy followers. You see their numbers jump real fast or something, or they pay for a marketing company, or there's different things like that.
That doesn't get you the mainstream popularity like that. You know what I mean? And it's, so, it's, I just question, and during the whole during when Bitcoin was taken off, he really seemed like he was kind of misleading people. And he really I don't know. He just seemed like he was part of the plan to distract us with.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, I think that's where everybody's got to really. I said something to mom this morning. We were talking about all this, and that's why I really wanted her to come on and give her wisdom during this time, because I think it is a time where America is. It's a time for all of us to grow up and take responsibility, and things are confusing. We're seeing information, we're taking all this in, but it's time for each person to make their own decisions of, not to blame Trump for this or that, or point at Biden for this or that, or any of that. It's or the media or whatever. It's time to not be a victim of any of it and take in whatever information, but also to assess your situation and kind of like, well, where am I going to stand and what is my America and my community? And then where do we go from here? And Mom, you have this history of fighting for your land, your place in the world. Kind of what would you tell people right now?
I guess just hang in there. I know, just speaking for myself, I never thought it would take this long for basically for the truth to come out, for the banks to collapse, for the cryptos to go up, for the silver to go up, because this scenario was obvious to a lot of people 40, 50 years ago, and it was mathematically inconceivable that it could go on forever. Well, I guess we should have crashed in 2000, 2008. I mean, there certainly been points where if Congress hadn't bailed out the system, I don't know if it would have been better or worse to do it earlier. Maybe now they've got some things in place, it'll be a softer landing. But I think it remains so uncertain, even though it seems like everything's imminent, that I think taking a more conservative path. I'll tell you the truth. I've got a car payment, and I have actually thought about, because it's holding its value really well, that I could sell it and buy a $10,000, car or truck, and not have a payment and drive that until things turn around.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm starting to, and I think maybe that's what people have to do just to get down the road. You're going to have to think outside the box. I canceled one of my I have Medicare obviously because of my age, but Steve and I years ago had started this medical policy, and they've been fabulous, but it was like $300 some a month. And then even when I had a knee surgery, I think they paid some very small amount. Well, more to the point, since I rarely have anything that happens. Right now I'm getting an epidural every 3 months, and if without that insurance, it would cost me $158. So I'm paying $1,000 over 3 months so that they will pay $158. So I
Right.
thought, okay, this is not smart. So, and like I said, they seem to be a good company, but I don't know why we have it. Maybe when you're not eligible when you're younger, and that's probably what happened. We got it when we were much younger, before I was on social or whatever. But canceled that, and just tighten your belt and just hang in there is about all I can recommend. If you're able to grow a garden, if you're able to have some chickens, don't leave the house if you don't have to, as far as spending extra gas money. I mean, there are ways to, I think, persist, and also you don't really want to be real high profile in this environment. It's not just the economy; it's just the world in general. Of course, here we are, talking what we want to talk about on YouTube. So that's probably not the smartest thing. That
we're trying to help as many people as we
you
can.
can't live forever.
I think, Nana, that you brought up a really good point, and you said that you didn't think it would take this long. That 40, 50 years ago, you realized that it was mathematically impossible.
Yeah.
I think the thing is that they have so many tricks up their sleeve. We don't know how long they could keep manipulating us for, and they could do different things that we're not even suspecting or expecting.
Right.
And what makes sense, one lesson I've kind of taken from everything, what makes sense mathematically and what should happen doesn't always happen.
Exactly.
And that's actually why I have a case for where, I love cryptos, I like precious metals, and we always talk about silver. I have a case for owning gold as well, besides for silver, because even though mathematically silver makes more sense and it's more undervalued, it's more suppressed, it's below the 1980 high, it's needed in industry, I get it and I believe it, and mathematically it makes a lot of sense, but the incentive would be for them to keep manipulating the silver price and keeping it suppressed. Every country on earth needs silver for industry. So where gold, on the other hand, gold's the money of central banks. So there's a lot of countries out there that want the price of gold to go up. It's not used in any industry. But silver, they all need it for cell phones, for batteries, for electric this and that, and solar panels, and yada, yada, yada. So that's my only thing with silver. As much as I love silver, saying, well, I wouldn't think people should sell all their gold. If you're into precious metals, I wouldn't sell all your gold because of that fact. Now, I wouldn't own just gold either. I'd say, hey, own both. And I like recommending that to people that are afraid of cryptos. In other words, I talk to a lot of people. They say, hey, I'm just afraid of the tech, this and that. I say, well, look at gold and silver. And then people say, well, what should I get? And I always say, get a combination of both. You know what I mean? I definitely see I see reasons to own both. Right now, buying gold is less premium than buying silver. Silver is much more of a premium, so you're going to get a better, I guess, value on your dollar per se. But no, that was a great point. We don't know how long they can keep this manipulation going. I mean, it should have ended in 2008, and they manipulated us then. It should have ended in 2019 when the repo market hit. And I feel like that's why the great virus came out, was they needed to create that phenomenon of slowing the velocity of money and increasing the money supply, where if they did that and didn't shut the economy down, we would have probably went right into a hyperinflation. But they were able to slow the velocity down, create a lot of money, and subsequently change the laws behind the scenes and the rules.
Right.
So
they couldn't have emergency executive orders and all that emergency situation. Even in states, a lot of the laws were changed under that emergency order.
And they got their, one thing I'm mad about is that I felt like 2017 was the shot for cryptos to really we had the lead then. We kind of, the old expression, we caught them with their pants down. I don't think they were expecting Bitcoin price and Litecoin price to run up like it did then. And they were freaking out, the powers to be.
That's so what I have another friend that feels the same way, and they feel like they or the elites felt like, well, wait a minute, they've always had the what's the qualified buyer thing? I always forget what it's called. The
commercial, is it
accredited investor?
Accredited investor thing. They've always had that to be able to keep the little guy, the us and them, the caste system in America. The Nancy Pelosi's making the deals, all her insider trading and all of that stuff going on in the background. And they've always been able to make those deals on the golf course and all that kind of stuff, that the little guy who's just, working his tail off till he's 70 and then has to go get a job as a greeter at Walmart to, keep their house or whatever, it's just always been the us and the them. And then Bitcoin came along, and some of the little guys, got to have a Lambo and whatever in 2017, and they didn't like it. And they had, the normies in their country clubs or move in next to them or whatever in their world. And that's when they started changing the rules of the game again.
Think about how much better stuff we had in crypto then too. You could go into Coinbase and these exchanges, no KYC, and start trading. Now, if you traded over a certain amount, they make you do the KYC, but that's a better way to go. Right now, it's the KYC blocks half the people from even getting into crypto. There's people I help. The second it says upload your license and a picture of your face, they say, I'm not giving Bitcoin my license. And it's like, well, you're not giving it to Bitcoin. You're giving it to the government. The government demands this, but they think it's Bitcoin asking them for it. And We had the regular Binance back then. We had we could access any exchange all over the world. There was no restrictions. It was just a lot better. Even the rules of exchanging cryptos back and forth were different, and swapping. That was actually viewed as at that time like a like-kind exchange, kind of like in real estate. And then they came out in 2018 and said, oh no, now going forward, it's I don't want to talk about this too much.
Right.
Because, if we give.
Well, and some of that's going to be changed. I talked about it a little bit yesterday. The REINS Act is coming in, and Congress has really not been doing their job. And I talked with Mom about it this morning. There's Roy Chip and Margaret. I apologize, Margaret, for not remembering your name, but they're really pushing this REINS Act, and it's to rein in that Congress has at least neglected, if not unlawfully, thrown off their responsibility and put these three-letter agencies to legislating, instead of Congress doing their job and creating laws under we the people's direction or vote, or being held accountable by we the people. They've pushed it off to these three-letter agencies to go swat people and that are not elected, for them to create these regulations. And it's just so wrong. And because of that, it's just made this unlawful, tyrannical, government that then we the people are the ones getting hurt by it.
Yeah.
When the SEC does all this, and IRS is, doing things, unleashing, things on the 84 whatever our agents, and all these rules that are coming out, that it's like, wait a minute, those are rules, not laws. Those weren't created by Congress. But then we are all held accountable by these three-letter agencies, or threatened with jail or their own.
It's a shame. They keep the waters murky. It'd be one thing if the SEC came out and said, okay, these are securities, but these are the cryptos that aren't securities, and these are going to be regulatory safe and all this. The fact that they haven't done that, it's kind of like you said, they're pulling people. You said this last week or the week before. They're pulling people over for speeding, but then the people are like, well, what's the posted speed limit? And they're like, we can't tell you the posted speed limit. You're just speeding. It's like, well, how are we supposed to know if we're speeding or not if you can't tell us the speed limit? And then it's like, well, what kind of car can we drive? We can't tell you what kind of car you can drive. So then it's like, we know Bitcoin and Litecoin are commodities. We know that, but they won't. The fact that they keep the water so murky.
Now they are saying that they're going to release the Hinman. The courts have ordered for the Hinman emails to be released, and that in those speeches and in those emails, that it says that. And I think that may be another reason that we're seeing all these distractions, because when that kind of stuff comes out, there will be clarity, and that kind of stuff could set the people free. There's also, I'm trying to find it right now, there was a court order, like a time frame for the SEC to have to come back with a response. Amy Berman Jackson.
If the SEC came out today, if Gary Gensler came out and said, okay, Litecoin's a commodity, it's clearly not a security, it's a safe coin to invest in, yada, 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 it's a crypto commodity, the Litecoin price will probably run straight to $1,000. They don't want that. And they also don't want people thinking, well, gee, is this a good alternative to use? The financial system seems like it's having problems. Maybe I should put some money into this Litecoin and use that. The Bitcoin network's congested. The transaction fees are high. Maybe they don't want people thinking this stuff. So it's they They are operating against us with every action they do, and by every inaction. Not only their actions, it's their inaction that they're operating against us on both fronts.
Yeah, you are absolutely right. Now, and they are making it's like when somebody lies by omission, you know, like they won't actually say it, but they're not saying it, you know.
Yep.
So they did make this statement, and Jared Tate from Digibyte said, you know, notice who's not listed or identified as a security in the Binance lawsuit. Notice which blockchains are missing, and they listed 48. I think they went on to list a few more, but you know, Bitcoin, Litecoin, Digibyte are not in there.
We all know. It's just the problem is that we get it, but then they won't announce anything about it. So you can't do one thing and then not do the other thing. It's like, okay, we're going to say what we don't like, but then we won't say what we like or what's in the clear. It's like, no, you got to, you know, so it's frustrating, but obviously they're not in don't have the people's best interests at heart. I mean, look at whatever you think of the whole FTX thing. That was probably the company that they were the most aligned with and that they liked the best. FTX, go figure, you know?
Yeah, and that was the other thing I said. They didn't sue FTX, but they're suing Coinbase and Binance.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's where I'm like, okay, is that to somehow be like, because I'm always doing the hopium thing. I'm always like hoping that this is part of the plan, the good guys, is that to like kind of put a hold on some of the good guy payment rails, because they flooded this, you know, they passed the debt ceiling thing, and now they're going to print more money. So this flood in Ukraine, they're going to flood the money, and the heads are going to pop up like a whack, and then they can like whack-a-mole of what's left of the bad guys to pick them up. Because they did just come out with all this, you know, the Epstein list came out last week, now the Instagram thing, and now Mel Gibson's movie's coming out July 4th. Like it's coming out. And supposedly silver was supposed to pop around the time that all the kid stuff came out from Cliff Status. So, or maybe that was Jenny.
Lisa, did you watch any of that movie I sent you on Rumble? It was from JFK to 9/11 or something. I'm kind of getting through that. That's pretty good. Nan, I'll send it to you as well. You'd like it.
Okay, thanks.
I probably have. I watch so much stuff.
It talks a lot about the Bush family and
oh yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and then I think I shared that in Telegram.
That's a good. That's what I really want to focus on. So I'm still not done with it yet. I'm like an hour and a half into it, but I'm gonna probably try to watch the rest tonight. It's that's wakes you up to, you know, a lot of stuff that happened. I feel like you have to bring people back to prior events and then lead them up to this, because it's like it makes sense now what's happening if you show them what's bad's happened in the past. It's like study.
People have got to realize the criminals are running the institution, and I think they're not often looking at that. They're thinking, oh no, they're Democrat, they're good, or you know, Republican, they're good. No, they're criminals, and they're running the institution, and we have got to get rid of the criminals. So
how's the expression going now? To the foxes guarding the hen house?
No kidding. Exactly.
Well, I have to go.
Yeah. Thanks
dinner.
for joining us. I really appreciate it. And Mom, thanks for joining us. It's such a great treat to have you here. And just
no problem. I just got to get back. I'm making spaghetti and meatballs. I got to get back.
I know, it's very important. It's very important. All right.
Well, great view, Nana, of your great view you have behind you. Awesome.
Yeah, I just, you know, it keeps me going.
Awesome view, and great to see you, Nana. I'll do any show you want me to be on when you're on it. I'm there.
You're on the wheel.
All right. Love to y'all. Thank you. And thanks to all the fam joining us in the chat. Please give us a like and share the video. Take care, guys.